This is my near-death experience story, but I firstly have to say that I don't believe in God and I don't believe in heaven and hell. But with my experiences over the years, I do believe there is something going on that's not explainable. I'm sorry if that upsets people, but that's just how it is. And my story is quite short. On that note, my story begins in France. I was working out there with a friend of mine and living in this old house on my own. And I woke up in the middle of the night, unable to go to the for a pee, basically. And after walking up and down for about an hour, I realised that there was going to be a bit of a problem. So I thought I'd better go down to the local hospital and try and find out what's going on. Having explained to them that I had previously had a prostate problem, they realised that I had a water retention problem and I needed a tube in places that you shouldn't really have a tube. So I ended up with a said tube and a bag on the leg, and they actually said that they would do the operation that next morning, but for various reasons I needed to get back to the UK, which was probably the biggest mistake of my life. On arrival in the UK, a hospital visit to the surgeon, and they said that we could do the operation, but it would be about 3 months of a waiting list. So that's what we did. We waited 3 months with the bag and the various things that go with it, nurses, etc. So anyway, the time came for the operation and everything was okay. I went in, had the operation, came out, all done, all good, everything working fine. A couple of days in hospital and then home, and then it all started to go wrong. I ended up with septicemia and water infections and all sorts of things going wrong, in and out of hospital, doctor's appointments, all sorts of stuff. So in the end, on my fourth or fifth visit to the hospital I was in, and my wife and daughter came in to see me, and they said that I looked quite ill, and to be honest, all I really wanted to do was sleep. So in the end they said, well, we'll disappear off and we'll let you sleep. Now the biggest problem is every time I shut my eyes I could see these sort of ghostly figures going by from sort of left to right, and then I opened my eyes again, obviously there was nothing there. So as my wife and daughter left, I shut my eyes and I found myself looking out of a doorway onto a very sort of old Victorian type street, something out of like Harry Potter or something like that. And there were all these figures going by. I say figures, they were just shadowy sort of figures, going by left to right down this street. I remember standing there thinking, well, that's interesting, I wonder what's going on there. So as I started to step out of the door, one of these shadowy figures came by and stood in front of me, and where his face would be suddenly hardened into what I can only describe as a wooden type mask that the Indian tribes people use when they're doing their ceremonial dances. And he shook his head from side to side as if to say, no, you're not coming in here. And I felt a very hard push in the chest, and then something or someone in my head said either wake up or get up. I really don't know, and I can't remember that. And I opened my eyes and I'm back in the hospital, and I could still hear my daughter and my wife walking down the corridor, so it's obviously not been that long. And then I realised that I was quite wet, and I thought, oh no, I peed myself in the middle of the dream. And I looked down to see that my scar had split open and was, well, pumping blood and flesh and all stuff out. And I realised I was feeling an awful lot better for this. So I called the nurse and they came in and dressed it all up, and it seems to have been sort of the poison in my system. Really must have been the sort of what was trying to kill me, basically. So after some sort of patching up and some new stitches and bits and pieces, I seemed to be sort of okay. But I don't really know how to sort of describe it. It's all a very simple type of story, but to be quite honest, it's sort of left a legacy on in myself, as much as I don't have the empathy that I used to have, and my outlook on life has changed quite a lot. I don't know. It's a very, very strange thing to say, to have gone through, basically. The biggest problem I find is when you try to speak to somebody and tell them about it, you can see their eyes glaze over, and they're sort of thinking, oh my God, I wonder how long tea's going to be, or how much more he's going to rabbit on about this. So it's actually quite nice to get on here and get this put out, and you know, if you want to switch off halfway through, you quite can, and I won't get upset. But it is quite a strange thing to say. But as of now, everything's okay. I don't worry about it. I think about it quite often. I can't say that it's affected my life a lot, but there's obviously that little something in the background that's there. So best of luck if you have the same thing in the future. Thanks for listening. Bye now.